damn near anything with one fucking eye. I gave that shit up for y'all, still came back swinging. But here I am, passed the fuck over for Neek Scott?
Speaking of your business, turns out one-eyed Jack wasn't no snitch after all. My bad, yo.
So as we went into episode 7, there were a few unanswered questions, because many were still speculating whether Scrappy was actually the snitch or was her mom in contact with Detective Peng, and all of the evidence pointed in the direction of her mom being Detective Peng's CI, but it was finally confirmed to Raq.
You told me Scrap was a snitch.
I know what I told you. I made a mistake. That's easy to do out here with everybody lying and perpetrating.
And it is easy to lie in the streets, but over the course of the last season or so, it is safe to say, Raq has made quite a few mistakes, and a lapse in judgment early in season 2 cost her one of her most loyal soldiers in Scrappy. But how crazy was it, even though after she realized she made a mistake on Howard's call, she still pulled a gun on Symphony, albeit she didn't pull the trigger, but again, based on something Howard said. And some of Raq's decision making really does need to be questioned, because how on earth is Raq still allowing Detective Howard to dictate some of her moves, even after she found out he was wrong about Scrappy? So in this video, we're gonna dissect the loyalty of Scrappy, Raq's trust in Howard, and how it's very similar to Ghost and Kanan, and whether Raq was right to pull the gun on Symphony, but was she right to pull away, or should she have taken the shot? Because it does seem like he spotted Raq, but if he knows what's best for himself, he definitely should leave, but he also shouldn't have revealed the location of where he was going either. Now let's just take this back for a moment and look at the impact of Scrappy's death, and this is definitely open to interpretation, because many will argue he disobeyed Raq with his gambling addiction, so he still had to go, but others will say he was one of Raq's most loyal soldiers, and it was the wrong move, and I sit in the camp of it being the wrong move. And as we progress through this video, you'll understand my opinion a bit more, because it centers around Raq bringing in Worrell and Unique.
I mean, just think about it, right? How you think she moved you from the 40s out here to New Jersey? Raq ain't stupid. She want all her partners in one place. You and me, we those problems.
So Unique and Worrell is something I'll circle back around to. Now, Scrappy's gambling addiction was actually foreshadowed in season 1, and we were given an even deeper backstory in season 2, which just gave us the audience a bit more of a connection to Scrappy. And this is what Power do. They build a character up, they give us a backstory, they give us this connection to a certain character, but only to rip them away. And Scrappy's death definitely had a huge impact, and now his death is haunting Raq, which I'm going to come back around to in just a moment. But this was a look of someone who was loyal, and so happy at the fact his loyalty and work with the Thomas organization since he was 14 years of age was finally being rewarded. Because his argument was, how can Worrell be rewarded with such a higher position in the Thomas family business when he lost an eye and bled for them?
But y'all give him 40 projects to Unique's boy instead of me? I've been down with y'all since I was 14. Looking out, bagging, soldiering, hustling, cooking, whatever needed to get done, I done it.
So everything that Scrappy said was true, but this was sad. The journey down to the warehouse was the happiest we saw Scrappy, but the silence from Marvin and Lou spoke volumes, and just when Scrappy thought he was being rewarded a place of his own to run and build from the ground up, that smile was soon taken away. And Raq has a habit of turning smiles upside down. She also did a similar thing with Duke. When she told her she was in contact with Kenya, she wiped a smile away. Although I do think she was right to warn her about Kenya, but every decision which is made because it benefits Raq. Now, there were still question marks with some whether Scrappy was actually the snitch, because it was never 100% confirmed. But when his mom shouted, "Where is Detective Peng?" when her gambling spot was raided by the police, that was the clue. But with Scrappy being brought in and Howard catching a glimpse of him in episode 1, Raq believed Howard. But it was revealed to Howard in episode 7, Scrappy wasn't the snitch, and it was his mom who was giving Detective Peng information on whatever she overheard by those in the streets. But I also don't blame Howard, because he actually thought Scrappy was a CI, and he was just giving Raq the heads up.
I made a mistake. That's easy to do out here with everybody lying and perpetrating. What you gonna do when Kanan sees all your lies and mistakes, huh?
So this game is definitely full of liars and manipulators, and considering Raq is one of the biggest in the Power universe, as well as a CI when she was 16, I think she should have known better. So the real problem lies with Raq. She took his word when there wasn't solid evidence to back up Scrappy was actually a CI, although Scrappy did lie about his whereabouts the night before he got pulled in, because he told Marvin he was at his cousin's house. But despite Marvin doing his homework, he knew it wasn't enough to make the call Raq wanted to make. In fact, both Marvin and Lou said they weren't sure, and neither of them wanted Scrappy's death on their conscience. But Raq made the call, and she also had to take the kill shot, because Lou refused to kill Scrappy after he pulled the trigger on D-Wiz. Now, the situation was very reminiscent of Kanan, Ghost, and Roller, because Raq seems like she has too much trust in Detective Howard in the same way Ghost did with Kanan. In Power, Ghost's organization was being hit by Kanan from inside prison, but instead of trusting his wife Tasha, he reached out to Kanan to ask him if he could help him find the man behind the attacks, and this fell straight into Kanan's hands. And so he managed to manipulate Ghost into killing one of his most loyal soldiers in Roller, although I don't believe Detective Howard was manipulating Raq, because he got the wrong information himself. She still had the same trust in Howard as Ghost had with Kanan, and so it's no coincidence we saw the death of Roller haunt Ghost, and now we're going to continue to see the death of Scrappy haunt Raq in more ways than one. For example, she now has War-El and Unique working for her in her operation in Jersey, which they cleverly navigated their way into themselves. And this brings me back around to why I think it was the wrong call in killing Scrappy. Even though Scrappy did continue to gamble, he would have remained a far more loyal soldier, and more loyal than War-El or Unique will ever be. And did the fact of Scrappy being confirmed as not being the snitch put a seed of doubt into her mind when it came to pulling the trigger with Symphony? I definitely think so, amongst other factors. I think the love that she has for Symphony definitely stopped her as well, because her heart definitely skipped a beat when she saw him outside her house. And this really would have been one step too far, because much like Scrappy, she had no proof he snitched or said anything to Beck. In fact, Symphony has shown us so far nothing but loyalty to both Kanan and Raq, and he genuinely cares and wants the best for them, even at times when Raq wasn't so nice in return. For example, in the hospital after Lou was shot, she laid into Symphony about how they were on some make-believe shit and how their relationship was never real, but he still warned her how she needed to watch her back when it came to Tony. He's been there countless of times for Kanan, collecting him from the precinct to taking him out of Queens, and again he did the same in episode 7. Beck approached him and questioned him about how he knows Kanan and Raq, but Symphony held his ground and didn't say a word. But not only did he push back on Beck, he told Raq. But with Beck doing crazy shit like stopping Symphony without probable cause, she doesn't realize the knock-on effect that this almost had on his life, because he went and told Raq, who then had a conversation with Howard, who then said he was a problem, which then led to Raq almost pulling the trigger, all from Symphony just being loyal to Raq, and Beck interrogating him when she had no right to. Now, something we do need to touch on is, did Symphony notice Raq? Because he did find his car driving by slightly strange, but if I were him, I would get far away from Queens as possible, move on and never look back, because this life will either only get you killed or end up putting you in jail. But we all know this is Power, and they love a good twist, and so I expect Symphony to be back at some point, especially because he's built this connection with both Kanan and Raq, who are so integral to the story of raising Kanan. And also, as we approach the end of the season, at some point, I expect things to explode, both for Raq's personal and street life, and no doubt, collateral damage of innocent loved ones. But that's a breakdown of Raq's biggest mistakes, which was killing Scrappy, and how his death has had a ripple effect, because no doubt, Scrappy should have been the one running the operation in Jersey. But soon she's gonna find War-El, Unique, and others betraying her. But drop all your thoughts down below on all things Raq and Symphony, and should she have pulled the trigger, or was she right to stop? Drop all your thoughts down below, and of course if you are new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 3 and Power Universe related. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.